welcome to I Hated That Book. And today I am going to be introducing the podcast a little bit, talking about why I'm doing it, and I will be discussing my first book, which is going to be the mega ultra famous Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros. What is this podcast and why am I doing it? Basically, long story short, I read a lot of books and I need to talk about them because I read so many books. I finish them all and I really don't like a lot of them. Now, on the one hand, I don't want to put more negativity out there in the universe. We're already all so angry and upset. But on the other hand, anger gets clicks. So if you hate what I'm saying, an anger listen is still a listen. And if we're going to use anger to make someone famous, why don't we at least do it to someone who's literate, if you know what I'm talking about? I'm not just going to be flaming stuff, though, as fun as that is. I know writing a book is really hard, and so I'm going to be trying to understand what it is that I like or dislike about these books and analyze it and ask why I'm having such a different experience than the 4 million people who gave this book 5 stars and or whatever. But also it's just really fun to make fun of stuff. I also, I'm not intending to be mean to any of these authors or the people who like them, and if you liked these books, then fine. I'm happy for you. I'm glad that you liked. I'm glad somebody liked them. And I'm glad somebody got joy and entertainment and excitement out of them. On the one hand, an anger listen is still a listen. Share it with your friends, be pissed about what I say. But also, I'm not trying to offend you or the author. Oh, and the last thing I need to say before I really get started is obviously there are going to be spoilers. I'm going to be assuming that you either have read this book or you don't care if I spoil it because you want a full review. Okay, so today we're going to be talking about Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros. I'm going to be talking a little bit about the characters, the plot, the setting, and then my overall impressions of the book. So let's start with the characters. Our main character is Violet Sorrengail. Do you get the pun? It's really funny, isn't it? And Xaden Ryerson, a resident shadow daddy, and a cast no one remembers or cares about, probably because most of them die almost immediately. We can start caring about the side characters in the second one, but that's a problem for another P-cast. Seriously, the characters die so fast, you're like, oh, another one. Who was that guy again? Am I supposed to feel sad? Some of the more important ones we have are Jack Barlow, our enemy, who is just a one-dimensional bully. Lots of depth. Rhiannon, our bestie, and she is, the token black best friend. I'm just going to say that. She's the stereotype of the best friend who is a person of color, because the main character can't be a person of color, so the best friend is. Liam, our other bestie, and Dane, our red herring love triangle nice guy, who, I will say I did appreciate this about the book, that Dane is a capital N nice guy, and that Violet was just like, nope, not into you. I did like that version, actually. On to Violet. What do I have to say about Violet? She is just the most specialist ever. Literally, no one will ever shut up about how special she is, how powerful her signet is, how pretty she is, how smart she is. She's a genius. She's 19 and she knows 12 dead languages. Let me just say, people today who know dead languages, people who know Latin and Greek, first of all, people like that never say, oh yes, I have mastered ancient Latin. They're like, oh my gosh, I've been studying this language for 30 years and I just know nothing. So first of all, there's that attitude. And second of all, if you tell me that some 19-year-old is just yeah, I know 12 dead languages, no you don't. Okay? No, you don't. She's also just so strong and tough and amazing. It's we get it. We all hate you, okay? If you were in real life, I would hate you so much, Miss Perfect, okay? She's even so special that she gets 2 dragons. Not just any 2 dragons, but the bestest, most special ones. I also just have to say, the dialogue in this book, so beyond cringe. I don't think I need to quote to you the line about what other clever things I can do with my tongue. I almost died on the inside when I read that. That's all I have about Violet for now. Now I have to move on to Xaden, who is discount Rhysand, just another shadow daddy. I think it's been said before. Tall, dark, and handsome, shadows, moody, abusive. Yeah. I love that he's the son of a rebel and somehow she thinks that they're enemies. Why would the fact that your mother oversaw the execution of his father make you enemies? That's just how the justice system works. I'm very confused as to why. I don't know. I guess it's a book. Also, he has a sexy tattoo. Very important. And secrets are his thing. That's very important for later. Now for the dragons. That's what we're all here for, obviously. Taryn was unironically the best part of the book, and I bet that dragon is regretting his life choices. You know, if the world has to be saved by two 20-somethings, I'd rather just die. I also just, why do they feel it when the dragons are having sex? Like, Rebecca, why? Okay, I also have another rant about the dragons. They make a big deal about the fact that, like, Violet is weaker because of her disease, and so she needs help. She has the saddle. That's great. I'm so glad that he built that for her, unironically. Like, awesome. But in the history of, like, mounted warfare on horses, the invention of the stirrup was a major, major invention because it allowed for way better mounted combat, because then you have the stability to be able to stand up in the saddle and be secure. Anyone who's ever ridden a horse bareback or without stirrups will know this. You're way slipperier without the stirrups. And so the fact that these idiots are not just, so horses go only, you know, left, right, back, forth. Dragons go up and down also. So the fact that these idiots are up on these dragons going up and down and side to side, 360 degrees, they don't even have saddles, much less stirrups, and you want me to believe that they are performing mounted combat? I rest my case. Okay, so since we've talked about Xaden and Violet, we have to talk about their romance. Like, that's the center of it all. Enemies to lovers, I get it. Super popular. People love that. I also think that one of the things that makes their relationship super appealing to people is the fact that it is a protection fantasy. Twilight lovers, I see you, because I can talk about this at another time. Twilight is just a protection fantasy. Becca being protected by the vampires and the werewolves, and then ultimately her own power. And it's the same with this. She, you know, Violet is small and weak and vulnerable, so she gets physically stronger. She gets super mega powers, and then she gets Xaden, who is constantly saying, I will protect you, I will protect you, I will protect you, my friends will protect you, you have a bodyguard now. And is it a sad reflection of the state of the world that we live in, that for a lot of people, especially women, this is a fantasy and wish fulfillment, that they want to feel protected and safe? Yeah, that's a really sad reflection on the state of the world today, and I don't begrudge anybody wanting to feel safe and protected. But Violet girl, if you are so great and amazing and perfect and wonderful, why do you need protecting? I'm a mere mortal like Xaden. I'm sorry, I should not have said that about Xaden. But honestly, to me, he's overprotective, jealous. He's an older man in a position of power over her directly. That is disgusting. Please stop normalizing this, authors. They're both really immature, especially in Iron Flame. It gets way worse. And I absolutely love when you get into his head at the end of the book and he's like a whiny little, you know. Their relationship, I don't understand why you would want to be in a relationship with someone so controlling and manipulative and immature. Authors, on the one hand, I'm like, okay, this is adult fantasy. You can like whatever smut you like. Everyone can have, you know, their dark fantasies. But this is a book that's being very widely sold. And I'm sure a lot of young people have read this. And even not just children, but like young adults. I am just questioning, what responsibility do authors have when we're romanticizing things like this? Because a lot of people get their social scripts and their ideas about what love and romance are from books. And so if we are constantly romanticizing and never questioning, is this actually a good relationship? That's what young people are learning love looks like. And that's not really a good thing for the world. So on the one hand, yes, everyone can have their dark romance and enjoy it, especially if they understand that this is not actually something that should be pursued in the real world. But I do worry about the people who don't realize that and just think that this is the pinnacle of romance and love. Lastly, I really don't appreciate the big man, tiny woman, because to me, it reads as very infantilizing. I know people will say, oh, that's what Dane does, but Xaden does it also. Everyone does, including the narrator, infantilize Violet. Okay, so that's all I have to say about the characters. So now we can move on to what I thought about the plot. So we start with the parapet and the school, and Violet poisons some people and learns how to fight, does the gauntlet. She has a bully because of course she has. This is a school story. She needs a one-dimensional bully, obviously. How else do we make our overpowered main character sympathetic? Then she sneaks out and eavesdrop because all these girlies have death wishes and are too stupid to live and have no self-preservation. But then Xaden is like, no, I protect you. And then we have the threshing, and she gets her dragons because she's stupid. I mean brave. Then the rejection of Dane. As I said before, I did like the use of the nice guy trope and the avoidance of the love triangle. I thought that was a good subversion. So 1 point in the corner of Fourth Wing. And then Liam protect her now. And then Jack dies. And then I do like, she like she's like, so like, pick me, you know. It was a bit cringe. I'm glad there's consent, but girl, have some self-respect. And then the entire time she talks about this old book and these folk stories, and you're like, yeah, no, I get it, Rebecca. The folk stories are true. Yeah, you mentioned it on page 1. I'm not an idiot. I know that when you say something over and over and over again, and on page 1, it's probably important. Oh no, the Venom are real. Oh my God, I'm shocked. I also just have to say I love at the end, and they're like flying to this combat on their secret mission, and they're like getting all sexy, and it's like, what are you people even doing? Why would you be like having a secret tryst when you're about to go to war and all your friends are right there? And then it turns out the folk stories are all true, and they have that big battle, and a certain character dies, and I was like, oh no. That's all I have to say about the plot. Is it pretty paint by numbers? Yes. So now I'm going to talk about the world building for a minute, because this is a fantasy novel. The world building, I'd say it's fine. It's accessible, I would say, is its one real strength. This is a criticism a lot of people have leveled against this book, but why is this school so cavalier about kids dying and murdering each other, except when they're not? So sometimes it matters when the kids are murdering each other, but usually it doesn't unless the plot needs it to matter. It's just so stupid. Why are you, especially the parapet or things, like these are people volunteer. Why are you just letting them die? Can't they just fall onto some mats and be like, oh no, now you're in the infantry? If you're in a state of constant war, why are you wasting anyone who wants to fight for your side? That's just stupid. I just have to say, I love it when Violet recites textbooks to tell us about the world building. I know so many smart people who just recite textbooks to people when they want to tell them about foreign policy and stuff. It's just a really common thing that I see all the time, and not completely unsubtle at all. So subtle, masterful even, in sharing these world building details. When they say show, don't tell, they mean have your character recite from a textbook about the gross domestic product of their nation. Like, that is how to do world building. My overall thoughts. I would like to say I did see a few positive elements of this book. I thought there was actually good foreshadowing throughout it, and the tension was very well maintained. It did pull you through and keep you reading. I will admit I couldn't put it down. And the writing was fine. And even though I was like making fun of it earlier, I did feel like a teeny bit sad when Liam died. But this is a romance book, and my main feeling at the end of the book was, Xaden and Violet, please grow up. Stop dating each other, stop all this stuff, and grow up as people individually, and then maybe come back and get together. But they just both, I was like, why? I cannot root for this relationship when you are both just babies. So I gave this book 2 out of 5 stars because it was like a little bit of a guilty pleasure for me. Like, I hated myself, but I also couldn't put it down, but also had so many flaws. And knowing what comes later in the series, I'm kind of inclined to rate it down. But this is, I will say, the strongest entry in the series. So that is all I have to say for now about Fourth Wing. Let me know if you want me to continue with the series, if there's any other series or books you want me to cover, or if you disagree with me, if you agree with me, if you want to chat about books, if you want me to read your book or your favorite book. You want to risk that? Have me rip apart your favorite book? I will do that. Or the book that you wrote and spent all your many loving hours on. I will do that, because I'm an equal opportunity roaster. You want me to roast The Sound and the Fury? I will. I hated that book. This is not just me hating smut. Thank you so much for listening to I Hated That Book, and I'll see you next time.